Tonight been called a landmark decision. The NHS in England will no longer prescribe puberty blockers at gender identity clinics for children. The government says it means treatment will now be in the best interests of the child. Trans activists call it a blow to their community. John is here to take us through this story, and it's been a controversial and long path to this decision. Why now? Take us through it.
Well, look, of all the battles over identity which so divide us at the moment, this trans question, what makes us men, what makes us women, is the most ferociously fought of all. And the treatment of children within that, not surprisingly, the most contentious. So we have to remember at the base of all this is some of the most vulnerable people, young people in our society. Look, let's start with one fact which isn't contested. Puberty blockers do exactly what they say they do. They slow down the process, they halt the process of a young person's sexual maturity. Their proponents say that then that gives that young person who is questioning their gender identity pause for thought, a time to reflect on what steps they want to take. The problem is this, Julie, there just isn't the long-term evidence to say whether they're safe or not. There are questions over the impact on bone density, long-term fertility. Some people think the effects might not be fully reversible. That broadly is the conclusion of this NHS review and consultation. So from now, there'll be no more puberty blockers prescribed on the NHS. There will, though, be prescribed as part of a trial which they hope to get underway by the end of the year. And the 100 or so patients who are presently on these drugs, their treatment will continue.
And what reaction has there been to this decision?
Well, it's been as polarised as the response to the consultation. Mermaids, one of the best-known advocacy groups for trans people, said tonight that this is a further restriction of support offered to trans children and the NHS, which is failing trans youth. What it certainly is, Julie, is part of a much wider rethink of the way trans children are being treated. The Tavistock clinic where these drugs have been prescribed, that closes at the end of this month. There'll be 2 new clinics in the north and the south. There'll be a much bigger focus on what they call holistic approach. Some people are heralding all this as a sort of return to treatment by science rather than ideology. But given the huge increase in the number of children presenting as trans, I doubt very much whether it'll settle the bigger arguments which underlie all this.
OK, John, thank you very much.